Amigos, hoy vamos a hablar de la conexión entre los adjetivos y los sustantivos. Vale, en inglés vamos a hablar, we're going to talk about connecting those adjectives with the nouns. So this is a little bit easier in Spanish than it is in English. In total, it might seem a little bit confusing at first, but once you get that idea, this idea that everything matches and remains in a similar pattern throughout really helps you understand how to connect those long term. Adjectives have to match the nouns. And like I said, in English, this doesn't make as much sense, but in Spanish, it makes a lot of sense because we have masculine, we have feminine, we have plural, we have singular, and we want everything to match each other. So if the article is masculine plural, the noun is masculine plural, the adjective is masculine plural, everything is going to be matchy-matchy across the board. So when we're talking about doing that, the first thing to take note of is that if the word, the adjective, does not end in an O or an A, it doesn't need to change to be masculine or feminine. It just automatically is both. It can go either way. An example would be verde, green, is going to be masculine or feminine as is. You don't need to change it around to make it that way. You do, however, need to make it plural if the noun is plural. So to do that, we'll start with the easy one. If it ends in a vocal, if it ends in a vowel, for example, verde, all you're going to do is add an S. So we take it from verde, singular, the green sweater, to verdes, the green sweaters, plural. If it does not end in a vocal, it ends in any other letter, you're going to add ES to the end. Por ejemplo, gris becomes grises. If, however, we do have an adjective, which is most of them that end in an O or an A, that means we have to change it to fit. So if we have a masculine noun, I need to have an O at the end of my adjective. If I have a feminine, I need to have an A at the end. Or if it's masculine plural, there's an OS at the end. If it's feminine plural, there's an AS at the end. So those two will always coincide. But what does it really mean if I need to be looking for masculine or feminine, singular, plural? Well, there's a really easy way to tell. Look at this chart here. We can see that going down, we have masculine, feminine on the far left side. This tells me that my columns are going to be masculine at the top, feminine at the bottom. If my item is singular and masculine, we see L is that coordinating word. So these are the definite articles. And we can look at those definite articles at the beginning of each word to be able to tell if we are talking about a masculine or a feminine, a singular or plural. So if I see L at the beginning, I know that it is masculine singular, which means I will put an O at the end of my adjective. If I see los at the beginning, I know it's masculine plural, which means I need to put an OS at the end of my adjective. If I see a law at the end or the beginning, I know an A needs to go at the end of my adjective. And if I have las, I need to have as at the end of my adjective. So if I need to write this out a little bit nicer than that, here we have L at the beginning, O at the end. La at the beginning, A at the end. Los, os, las, as. Everything is going to be matchy-matchy across. Last thing to talk about here is the order. So in English, we're going to put an adjective before the noun or in between the article and the noun. So we have the green sweater. But notice if we switch this around, we want to put it in a full sentence and put it with a verb, we switch around and we put that adjective now at the end now. The sweater is green. In Spanish, we're going to keep it a little more consistent. So essentially what we're going to have is where the adjective goes after the noun. And the concept behind this, or a concept behind this, is that you can take out the verb and you still have the same thing. All you're doing is putting a verb in or taking the verb out. So instead of the sweater is green, and then putting green suddenly in front of sweater, if I take out the verb, I'm going to keep it in the exact same order. So for examples, we have the blue skirt. My word for blue goes at the end. And if I want to make it a full sentence, I have es for is and son for are. So singular, plural. And remember, everything matches. So just like we said before, if it's plural, we want everything to be plural. If it's singular, we want everything to be singular. In this case, the blue skirt is singular. I have azul at the end. And then I want to make it a full sentence. The skirt is blue. La falda es azul. So we're keeping our same concept. We're keeping the exact same idea. All we're going to do is squeeze a verb in the middle. Okay? So everything for this is still singular. La falda es and azul, all singular. The yellow dress, el vestido amarillo. The dress is yellow. El vestido es amarillo. You're keeping the exact same order. All you're doing is adding a verb in the middle. The shirts are pink. Las camisas son amarillas. So again, we're keeping everything consistent. Las is plural. Camisas is plural. Son is plural. Amarillas is plural. Everything is going to be matchy-matchy across the board. That is all the information about connecting, or that's the basic information about connecting your adjectives to nouns in Spanish. Hopefully that helps.